Hahn. One and only Nick Hahn. You've heard about Nick Hahn. You probably have heard about Nick Hahn more from Jay Brannon. Just gonna say, it's kind of a thing. But Nick, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Thanks for coming in. Typically, when Nick's on, we talk music. Tonight, we're going to go a little bit different direction because this is finishing up our 10-week cycle of how to start your business. Now, the idea was we went through the different things with the business side of it and marketing and pricing and everything. Tonight, Nick, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about purchasing gear, whether we're running a photo booth company or a DJ company or even an uplighting company. We need to be buying pieces. And you've been to shows, you've been to entertainment things, you've been on the side of selling gear, you've been on a manufacturer side, you've been all over. And I wanted to have you just give some insight to our viewers tonight, a little bit about some of the behind the scenes thing that they may not be aware of.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. I used to work at Pioneer 2001 to 2006. About that time, we were really pushing the CDJ technology and the DVJs. And I had a chance working with the sales team as a marketing guy to go around and talk to different dealers and look at our contracts. And one thing I'd like to just for some folks out there that might not know, MSRP stands for manufactured suggested retail price. MAP stands for minimum advertised price. Don't ever pay MSRP. I don't think you ever should have. But MAP, the minimum advertised price, means that dealers are only allowed to advertise that price. That's the lowest they can advertise, and an authorized dealer will adhere to that. They can email you a better price or give you one on the phone, but they can't advertise it as such. And that's important because it protects the dealers. And a lot of people don't understand there's several different types of dealers. You have national accounts like a Guitar Center or Sam Ash. You have distributor accounts like Empire out of California. And then you've got direct dealers like the DJ Plug in Tampa, or Ben Stowe at NLFX, or Frank Garcia at Mainline Audio. Mm-hmm. National accounts usually get a little bit better pricing because they have more stores, they buy more product. But what you don't get with a national account usually is a guy that knows what he's talking about. A lot of Guitar Center employees are in and out quickly. They don't necessarily know a lot about the products. You've got people like Austin Lee out of North Carolina, though, who is very well versed in those products. So he's an exception to the rule. But for the most part, if you want to get personalized service with people who know what they're talking about, you're going to want to go to the direct dealers. And they're authorized through Pioneer or other manufacturers in music, Ape Labs, whoever. Chauvet, all these different companies, they authorize these folks, and they have to adhere to a certain set of rules when selling product.
Now,
the reason these rules, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, hang on. You've been talking authorized on a couple of things, especially when it came to MAP pricing. What's the difference between an authorized and a non-authorized? Because there are companies out there that are selling gear that I've heard in other industries they're not authorized dealers, but they're selling gear and they're selling it very competitively in pricing. Right.
Well, one of the things, first off, if you're a DJ, this is the reason you should care about buying from an authorized dealer. Warranty. Number one, warranty. An authorized dealer, I know with Pioneer, if you bought from a non-authorized dealer, your warranty was void. So you just paid, $1,200 for a product that you can't get serviced under warranty. And you can get it serviced, but you're going to have to pay for it. That bugs me. And then you've got to remember some of these guys, they don't have brick and mortar stores. So they're trying to sell stuff at close to cost as possible, and they erode the marketplace. And basically what that does, the reason that matters in the first place is if those direct dealers who've invested all this money are basically not able to sell any of their gear, it puts the manufacturer at a distinct disadvantage because they're not going to be able to sell any more gear to those direct dealers. They're not selling them to the unauthorized folks, and folks are probably wondering right now, well, where do you get unauthorized gear? How can you get that? Well, a lot of distributors will sell to third parties. Now, those third parties are supposed to sign a contract and adhere to the same sort of rules that direct dealers do. But unfortunately, we have some unscrupulous folks in this industry and others who sometimes skirt those guidelines. And the problem is it definitely puts both the direct dealers and the manufacturers in a position that's not good for business overall, which means ultimately they're going to have to charge you higher prices, because that's what it all basically comes back to. You know, you keep things. It's like buying an Apple product. You don't go to Walmart and get a better deal than you do at the Apple store. Apple keeps that. It's about keeping things fair and giving everybody a chance to prosper legitimately. And if they can't, Pioneer ends up having to make that up for the dealers, and it costs Pioneer. And if it costs Pioneer, their bottom line matters, so they're going to raise prices on other products.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it, but it happens. So
somebody mentions in the chat room here that that going and buying, find out what you want, and then buying it from the best price wherever you can. And I'm adding to that, wherever you can find it, because there's doing searches, you're going to find different pricing. And then if you put it on a Facebook group and say, hey, I'm looking for a brand new Pioneer controller, or I'm looking for a new selfie booth, or what have you. It's interesting if you guys have ever done that and you've had private messages coming in from some of these dealers that Nick was just talking about. These people who don't have a legitimate business, and they're like, hey, you know what? I can get you that controller, and it's going to be, instead of $1,000, it's only $725. Oh, hey, great. I'll buy one of those. And then
you basically, you might get a brick that they're not going to support, and good luck chasing them down to get your money back. There is no warranty. You're not getting any kind of after sales support. You're not getting necessarily somebody who's going to warn you against. I'll give you an example. Ben Stowe is a prime example of the reason that you want to shop with an independent business person. You can ask Ben about any product, and if he doesn't know anything about it, he'll research it and tell you about it. He'll also say, but based on your budgets and what you're going to use it for, you might actually want this. This over here is either a better price, or is a better performer under these conditions. That's what you get when you deal with a direct. And really, I mean, for the most part, you're not typically what you just said, your example of $1,000 to $700. That's rare that you would find a deal like that, and if you do, you should definitely question it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But that's the thing with, I'll probably use Ben 1,000 times as examples, but if you have a problem with a product with NLFX, they'll take care of it. I mean, I'm surprised I haven't seen a video of somebody having Ben Stowe drive cross country to drop something off because the mail wasn't running for whatever reason. That's the type of service and support you get. Desmond Williams at the DJ Plug in Tampa, that guy, he's got a customer that he sold to. He sold a Serato suite to him, I think he said like 3 years ago, and he's still answering questions from that guy. That sale's been done forever. When you shop from authorized dealers and people who know what they're talking about in general, their reputation's on the line. They want to make sure that the customer's happy, because they know that one bad review or people chattering on the internet means a lot to them, and it can hurt them or it can help them. Somebody that you buy secondhand from on Amazon doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna follow up with you. They're not gonna help you out. They're gonna do everything they can to skirt with your money and not deal with you anymore, because that's just the way of the world these days.
And we've had this discussion in some of the chat rooms, that buying gear off Amazon or buying gear off eBay, the two areas of which keep getting thrown out. They're like, well, it's cheaper. Should we do that? Or is that a bad situation? Specifically, Nick, I'm not sure how familiar you are with some of the companies. IDJ now is an example of a company that sells some of their B stock or their returns on eBay,
right,
with warranty.
Right.
Where they're selling things and they're actually standing behind the products. Is there a way, when we've talked in the music industry, there's kind of a little rule of how we can kind of see if maybe this company is sketchy, and maybe if it's not. Is there any way when it comes to dealers and gear that a person could feel good about buying, knowing that they were buying from a legit person?
Well, most manufacturers should have an authorized dealer listing on their website. And somebody like IDJ Now, I've got a friend that works there at Kevin Famoso. That dude, yeah, he's as honest as the day is long. Justin Schwartz is constantly online answering people's questions. I personally would feel confident buying from an authorized dealer on eBay. Mm-hmm. An unauthorized dealer, no, you might as well buy from a complete and total stranger, you know. So I would verify first that the company is legitimate. And I'd also ask, I mean, you've got the ability to ask via eBay, you know, what the warranty is, especially on B stock and whatnot. I mean, I'm a scratch and dent guy when it comes to like refrigerators and washer and dryers. But when it comes to DJ gear, I don't like buying secondhand. Sure. I will sell things secondhand. But I'll tell you the other thing that happens. Sometimes you get buyers on eBay when you buy secondhand who also try to pull one over on you. It's just, I personally like buying directly from the business. I don't really like using auction sites. I don't really like using Amazon. Even in my music, if I buy Amazon, I buy directly from Amazon. I don't buy used stuff anymore. It's just, overall, I feel like you're contributing more and you're not saving that much money. Talking about IDJ Now or NLFX or Frank at Mainline, like you might go to them and let's say you want a DDJ SX3, and that SX3 is $1,200 at their shop, right? Mm-hmm. But you go to Guitar Center and the guy you don't know, he's like, "Well, I'll give it to you for $1,100." Well, maybe you're saving $100, but I guarantee you that the three people or the three businesses I just mentioned are going to have stellar after sales support. They're going to back up what they said. And more to the point, when you work with a national account like Guitar Center or Sam Ash, a lot of those folks, they may be pushing what management told them to push, not necessarily what it is that you actually need, you know, to get the job done. They may be operating on a spiff, which is a sales incentive, you know, like every DDJ SX3 that you sell, we're going to give you $100.
Sure.
You, the salesman. So, I mean, you might need a Newmark NS7 or whatever they're pushing right now. Mm-hmm. You might need that, and he doesn't care because he's going to tell you, "Oh no, bro, you need the Pioneer." You do need the Pioneer, but but he's telling you this over here when in reality, all you need is this NS7 over here, and you can save money. And that, to me, it's worth that little bit of extra money. And honestly, you're taking care of people's families. At Guitar Center, you're not taking care of people's family. It's not that I'm bashing on Guitar Center or the people who work there by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of people do look at these bigger accounts that the manufacturers have, and they just say, "Well, the price can't be beat." Well, the price can't be beat because they have the buying power, but that doesn't mean they're a better quality company. And you should care about who you're doing business with, because when your stuff goes wrong, when you have something break down and you need to get it fixed or repaired or replaced or whatever it is, you want somebody who's going to take care of that for you when you need it. Because when your equipment is down, that's money out of your pocket. You're not working unless you have backup gear, which you should have backup gear. But it's important, and I can't tell you enough. I can't say enough how important it is to have honest people that you can trust to buy from, especially DJ gear, because there's so much stuff out there. It's hard, especially for the newbies, to discern what they actually need. Do you need a pair of 1200s when you're starting out? No, you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you could start off with a several $100 controller and get the job done. But you need somebody who's going to tell you that and be honest with you. And sometimes your friends won't even tell you that because they're all caught up in the latest gear as well, you know? So, there's just so many different reasons. I mean, you talk about lighting, you know, I mean, you could have a fire or an explosion if you're buying knockoff lights, you know, or lights that have been handled improperly. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal.
What are your thoughts on, you know, we go to a lot of trade shows around the country. The companies that support either trade shows to the education for the industry, what are your thoughts on that? Is that something that should really matter in a person's buying decisions?
Well, me personally, I like to put my hands on product. And a great way to do that is to go to a trade show. A lot of times when you go to one of these national accounts, the national accounts typically, in my experience, have had more hands-on stuff because they just have more real estate. But you've got certain stores that, you know, I mean, I know Frank at Mainline loves to have people come in and play. DJ and stuff. So you definitely can try out product at his store. Ben won't let me come and visit him up there, so I'm not sure if he has people come in and test out gear. But I do love the fact that, I mean, if you go to a say Photo Booth Expo, for instance, this upcoming year, I know that some of the manufacturers are talking about being on board. Well, if Ben is there and you get to try the Pioneer gear in the Pioneer booth, you can walk over to Ben's booth and ask him, hey, yeah, I mean, he's an authorized dealer. You know, what do you have? Do you have a special on these? Tell me more about this product. I like the shows for that, as long as, you know, the people that are there selling the gear are authorized. I don't think I remember anybody not being an authorized dealer at shows, but I do know that some of these show promoters like Ryan Berger, he'll just take money from anybody. So, you know, he'll bring in people who are illegal just as long as, you know, he gets paid. He doesn't care. I don't think so in the gear world, though. I don't think there's been anything like that. What do you think about gear at the?
Well, and that's the question that people ask is that, you know, they go to Photo Booth Expo and they're looking to buy a photo booth, and there are different companies out there that have an established name in that industry. But now all of a sudden you're there and there's 40 different photo booth companies, and they're trying to do that, and then they come home and they mention, hey, I saw XYZ photo booth at the show. And what do you guys think of it? And then they'll have these people who are like, you know, I make that mirror photo booth that XYZ does. I make it and I got it cheaper here. It becomes a dilemma. People are like, well, I like what they did. They answered my questions at this show.
Right.
And now I'm torn. Do I save the $500 to $1,000 and buy it here, or do I go with the other? And that's something I think a lot of people, as they're looking to expand, find themselves in that ethical dilemma. What do you do?
Well, the first things first, $500 is a big deal. And if you are going to save that much money, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wouldn't make that jump. But I'd actually have to have my hands on the product that this person says that they have. You know, if I'm with Danny Brewer looking at the Ring Roamer at Photo Booth Expo, and you know, he shows me this product. I know it's solid. He showed me how it works.
Yeah.
And then I come back to Nashville and I meet Joe Blows. I was like, I got that, and it's, you know, $500 less. And I'm like, okay, well, let me see it. You know, let me put my hands on it. Let me see how much better it is. Then I might even call Danny up and say, hey man, I'm not trying to pitch you against people, but this guy's telling me he can give me the same thing at $500 less. I mean, somebody like Danny or even a Ben. Back to Ben Stowe. Ben will tell you sometimes that's an amazing deal. You should take it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like he will. Like if he can't do it, he's going to do that for you. You know, I mean, like Desmond at DJ Plug, he'll do the same thing. You know, like if he can't beat a price, he's going to help the customer find someone he's going to gladly do that. What I don't like is when somebody asks. They go to Ben and they go through all this drama. What do I need to get? And he spends, you know, significant time with them, and then they turn around and they go online and try to find the best price. And it's like, come on, man. Like, you're going to save $25, $75. He just spent an hour with you. He's going to answer all your questions, and you're still going to do that. To me, that's unethical. I don't know if ethics is the right word. It's just, you're not a nice person. You're not somebody I necessarily want to hang out with. You know, you've taken advantage of his time that he could have been spending with a customer, instead of somebody who was just a tire kicker and was, you know, trying to get as much information out of him so they could go find it at a better price somewhere else. I don't like that. I don't respect DJs who do that either. This is a tough market. I don't know. A lot of people, you probably remember, Promo Only used to sell gear.
Yeah.
When I moved over from Pioneer, that was the first thing I did. I said, I talked to our CFO and I said, we're not selling gear anymore. And he goes, thank God. Because, I mean, people like Pioneer, when you buy a Pioneer product, or at least when I was there, you have to buy the whole product line. You have to have everything. You have to buy, if you want to sell a DDJ SZ, you also have to carry the SB3, the effects units, the flat panel speakers, all this other stuff to a certain degree. And a lot of that stuff doesn't move. You know what I'm saying? So you're sitting on inventory. All your profits are wrapped up in inventory that's sitting on the shelf. And if you can't move that product, even taking a loss on it sometimes is what some of these guys have to do just to get their money back out. It's a big deal. Like you need to understand that when you're trying to hold people's feet to the coals to save $5 more, that might be the difference between, Frank's niece getting some braces or not. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be we got to get away from this Amazon, Walmart mindset where we have to have the best price possible. The customer experience is also very important. In fact, that's the thing that we focus on most at Promo Only. It's hard for us to compete with illegal bootleggers. So we focus on the customer experience. So when people come to us, that's why they stay with us. And that's why I think that you should, do your best and more to the point, if you develop a relationship with a particular dealer, you'll find that you're going to save more over time. If you're a repeat customer for somebody like Frank or Ben or Justin or Desmond, they're probably going to take care of you. They're also going to be like, I think Desmond was selling something, I think the iRigs he was selling in Tampa. And when a new shipment came in, he took care of all the people who have been loyal to him first at a really good rate for a product that nobody could get their hands on. I think that kind of stuff is important, and you're not going to get that with an Amazon seller. You're not going to get that with the guy down the street. And it's important. It really is important. It'll save you so many headaches, in my opinion, anyway.
We got a few more minutes. Nick, we got a few more minutes. We're going to wrap things up. Let's talk about loyalty to the dealers. You've mentioned many dealers or there's manufacturers for your different products, photo booth, what have you. Does a person, if you are doing business with like the crew from Canal, Sound and Light type I'm doing business with them, with Jeffrey and buying things. Is it something that a person should feel bad if they go and go to a different dealer and do business with them and take advantage of that deal? And does that hurt their bottom line or hurt their feelings, or how does that fit in?
I mean, if you have to do it, do it. You know what I mean? Like, especially during COVID times, things are a little bit more different. So it's not as easy to say. But I mean, I think most people would understand. But once you get in with a dealer, you stay with a dealer. There's a guy that works out of the D.C. area. His name's Randy White. He works for Washington Music. I've known Randy for probably 19 years. And I can't count the number of times I've heard his name come up with DJs from all over the country who've bought gear from him. Mm-hmm. And the reason that matters in the first place is those folks like Randy enough to be buying from him consistently and constantly. When they say, I don't think once you find somebody like you're talking about Canal Hi-Fi, once you find a dealer like that, you're probably not going to shop that much elsewhere. And if you do, I mean, I'd be surprised if they wouldn't price match. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you've got that loyalty. If let's say, using Randy and Frank both as examples, if Frank's got a product that Randy doesn't have, or Randy has marked significantly higher than Frank, but you use Randy all the time, you call Randy up and say, hey, man, Mainline has got this product for $100 less. Would you mind matching it? And I'm sure Randy would be like, if he can, he will. If he can't, he'll give you his blessing. I'm kind of like the err on the side of being upfront and honest with people. I like using my same barber, but sometimes I go in and my barber looks at my hair, not lately, but he'll look at my hair and he's like, did you get this cut somewhere else? And I'm like, yeah, I was out in California for NAMM and I had to get it cut real quick. I didn't have a chance to schedule with you. He's like, okay, cool. But lying to him or whatever else, it's not good for the relationship. And I definitely think that most people would be understanding. I haven't met anybody in this industry who's an authorized dealer who's not really cool about that kind of stuff. So price matching is something most people will want to do because they know they can do it. If they can't do it, they're going to let you know and they're going to understand. They're also going to appreciate the fact that you gave them the opportunity to match first. You offered them the business and they're people too. They're trying to find good deals on stuff, but the takeaway here is buy from authorized people. Don't buy secondhand. Don't buy knockoffs. I mean, secondhand is fine, but just know what you're getting when you buy.
Yeah, for
what
sure.
you're getting is a mystery box. It may work, it may not. It may arrive in the mail with a digital output not working. All sorts of different things. So you can't just take a look at a picture and go, "Oh, that's it works perfectly fine." So and just support especially the independent dealers, and make sure they're authorized when you've got, especially when you're doing a big purchase, not for them, but for you. Protect yourself. It's very, very important.
That it is. That it is. Nick, we got to wrap up here, my friend. Thank you much for the insight and thoughts and such on how to do and protect ourselves when we're buying our gear from our manufacturers and from our dealer friends.